Hello, welcome back. This is Estates and Trusts Module 7C. We're talking now about pretermitted spouses and children. Go ahead and say that. Pretermitted. Okay. Some of the things in this chapter that we're actually not going to talk about. Prenuptial agreements. But I do want to point out, these are not just for divorce. They clarify rights for late-in-life marriages. They put adult children's fears to rest. Because marriage means property rights. And we also will not discuss the estate of grief case. You can read it on your own. Moreover, we're not going to focus at all on Mort Main statutes that are mentioned in your casebook. That's a motorcycle. Which limit charitable bequests when there are family members. And we aren't going to spend any time really on public policy issues such as property rights in frozen sperm, which I think actually better fits in a property course. However, there is sort of an interesting question to ponder and to think about with your clients, which is whether it's appropriate to have public policy restrictions on what a testator can do in a will. What conditions can you put on property ownership? Typically, it's not okay to require somebody to get divorced or prohibit somebody from marrying. But beyond that, there are a lot of things that people do in wills that maybe we shouldn't let them do. Okay, I guess I forgot to fill in the objectives here. So here they are, and I guess I'll have to fill this in later. We're going to look at a pretermitted child statute and focus on how to apply it element by element to some problems. Okay, so here's our scenario. Testator makes a will, and then testator gets married or testator has another child. Now the new spouse or the child is omitted from the will because the will already existed when they came along. The term for that is pretermitted. Can you say it? Pretermitted. And the noun is pretermission. Pretermission statutes guarantee the spouse or child something in this circumstance. Usually for a spouse, the elective share is a better deal, but not always. We remember from the UPC statute that elective share amount depends on how long they've been married. Sometimes the pretermitted statute might give you a better deal, so it's worth checking. We will look at UPC 2-302, the pretermitted child statute, and let's work through the problems, or at least the first ones, on page 335. Okay, here's the first one. Bill and Mary had no children. Their wills gave everything to each other with alternative gifts, half and half, to their parents. And then their daughter Myrna was born. Now, if Bill dies without revoking his will, what share of his estate would Myrna take under UPC 2-302? Let's look at it. Okay, here's the statute. Except as provided in subsection B. If a testator fails to provide in his or her will for any of his or her children, born or adopted after the execution of the will, the omitted after-born or after-adopted child receives a share in the estate as follows. Whoa, stop here. Does this apply to us? Yes, it does. Children born or adopted after execution of the will. Myrna was born after execution of the will. Okay, so we'll go on. A1. If the testator had no child living when he or she executed the will, an omitted after-born or after-adopted child receives a share in the estate equal in value to that which the child would have received had the testator died intestate, unless the will devised all or substantially all the estate to the other parent of the omitted child, and that other parent survives the testator and is entitled to take under the will. Okay, wait. Does this apply? Well, let's see. Sure. Testator had no child living when he or she executed the will, right? We're told that was true. Bill had no child when he executed the will. So what does Myrna get? She gets an intestate share of the probate estate, right? A share in the estate equal in value to that which the child would have received had the testator died intestate. But wait a minute. There's an unless. Always read to the end of the sentence. Unless the will leaves everything to the other parent, and the other parent survives, and the other parent can take. Yes, the will leaves everything to Mary, who is the other parent. Mary survived Bill, and we have no reason to think that Mary can't take, like because she bumped him off or something. So notice how we apply the statute line by line to the facts of the problem. Now what if Bill revised his will to give his fishing pole to Myrna and $1,000 to the United Way? What share would Myrna take under the UPC? Well, wait a minute. Would 2-302 even apply now? You might have been trying to think, okay, wait a minute, did he leave substantially all of the state to Mary in that case? 2-3 doesn't apply because 2-302 doesn't apply because Myrna's no longer pretermitted. She's not an afterborn. Okay. Now, what if Bill revised his will and then they had another child, Martin? What would little Martin take? First of all, would UPC 2-302 apply? Sure, because Martin was born after execution of the will. But 2-302A1 wouldn't apply, because this time when Bill executed the will, he did have a child. Okay, let's look at A2. If the testator had one or more children living when he executed the will. Yes, Myrna was living, and the will devised property or an interest in property to one or more of the then living children. Okay, wait a minute. Statutory construction question. When living? What are they talking about? Look back in the statute for a when. We're talking about when the will was executed. So yes, the will devised property to Myrna, who was a then living child. So in that case, an omitted or afterborn is entitled to share in the testator's estate as follows. The portion of the testator's estate in which the omitted afterborn child is entitled to share is limited to devises made to the testator's then living children under the will. Whoa, limited to the fishing pole. Great. Okay, and the omitted afterborn is entitled to receive the share of the testator's estate as limited that the child would have received had the testator included all omitted afterborn children with the children to whom devises were made under the will and had given an equal share of the estate to each child. Okay, wait a minute. We're just talking about Martin. He's the only omitted child. And we're saying Martin and Myrna get the same. But we're still limited to the fishing pole. And to the extent feasible, the interest granted an omitted afterborn child has to be the same character. Yeah, we're still limited to the fishing pole, so we don't really have a problem with that. So maybe they could sell the fishing pole and split the proceeds. Or maybe they can take turns, but they have to get the same kind of thing. And in satisfying a share provided by this paragraph, devises to testator's children abate rateably. Well, we don't even need to think about this, because there's only Myrna's gift to abate. Okay, so notice that none of this applies if it's clear that the omission was intentional, or if Bill gave Martin a gift instead of a bequest. Now, we'll stop here. The point is, read the statute and always apply each part of the statute that applies. So, pretermission means omission because the will was executed before the birth or before the marriage. And the UPC provides a share for a pretermitted child in some circumstances. We did not read it, but there's also a pretermitted spouse statute. And we have to look at the timing of the children's birth, the timing of the will, and whether and what people are getting under the will. All right. And this is an afterborn hedgehog. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry my eyes are watering. It's really, really bright out here. Okay, I can't find the stop sign. There it is. Bye! Thanks for watching. See you next time.